Yeah. All right. Let me tell you how. Yourself, man. I don't really have anything. I have this really interesting sword that's very plain looking. How come I can't have really colorful stuff? But then you remember, oh yeah, we can have colorful stuff. We can have whatever color we want. We can even have a fucking rainbow sword if we want to, because, you know, we have the power. I mean, like, if we want to change the environment, I mean, you know, we can change the environment. It's all right, guys. We can do it all. Just saying. And we're sitting here talking to our friend Sad Neil, and Sad Neil wants to know. He says, how do you do all this, zombie? How do you make this cool stuff? Without using any mods off the Steam Workshop. Maybe you want to make mods on the Steam Workshop. I don't know. But I can show you. So, first thing you're going to do is make yourself a mod. You can call it whatever you want. Mine's just going to be called Test. Alright, here's my Wandering Trader start, where I gave myself that stuff. What? So, let's say we want to color a Mato weapon. We want it to be a rainbow, perhaps. Or perhaps we want to make it gold, or red, or blue, or black. I like black the best, I'm not gonna lie. But in the models up here, we have Mato. We select this, and what do we see here? We have this thing. It's been changed, but we'll revert that back so we can see the default is, you know, it's in data items, weapons, textures, 15 /hi.dds. All right, so in our, that's the wrong one. There we go. So this is where we want to save the file at. But in order to find that file, we have to go, this is the main Kenshi folder. We're going to go into data, we're going to go into items, we're going to weapons, we're going to go into textures, right? Here they are, 1 through 15. These are all the various weapon textures that are used. You know, 15, we know that's Mato because we looked. Right, if you want to change a different one, you'll be looking for a different one. But you don't want the normal maps. These blue ones are all normal maps. You don't really need those. But you'll copy this. Right, you'll put that into like pretty much anywhere else. So you can be on your desktop, like mine's on my desktop. And I put it in Dust Coat Trails. There's the original. And I selected a gradient in GIMP. So we can probably undo the gradient, right? So this will be the default image. In order to find a gradient, you go, there would normally be a bucket fill right here. You hit gradient, right? And then over here, I'll have the custom thing. And what I selected was this one. But what if I want deep sea, right? What if I want to drag it this way? Right, well, that's no good. We don't want that. But what we can do is because the last one we put down is the one selected, we can touch the color button and we can hit the alpha. Right, and we can select this one, touch this, and hit the alpha again. We touch up here and do the same thing, hit the alpha again, fade it back in. Maybe drag these down a little bit. So we want to keep the blue, but we want the blade to be like a light blue, perhaps. So like something like this. That should work wonders for us. So we'll hit up File, Export As, and we'll just go to our Program 86, Steam. Put Steam Apps, then Common, then Kenshi, then our mod folder. Now the name of our mod, mine was Test. And we'll just overwrite this guy. For you, it would probably just be a brand new file, but you could have multiples of the same thing and switch between them if you want, or you could copy Mato and have multiple types of Mato weapons in different colors. It's totally up to you. Like I tried making rainbow ground textures. Yeah, didn't work. We'll just go ahead and discard all those changes. I don't care. I'm done with playing with it for now. All right, you can do the same thing with cloth pants too, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But now we take this and we open this up, and it should take us to our mod folder. If it doesn't, you'll have to navigate to your mod folder and then the one that's named after your mod. So now we know we're looking for H15. I believe it's still called Rave, so we'll select that. All right. So now with that knowledge, we know that we can go into items, armor, and let's say we want to do a dust coat, because everybody likes dust coats. All right. So this will be the name of the dust coat thing when it's regular. So you're looking for the drifter coat 1, robot black, and it'll be item armor textures drifter coat. All right, so we'll just go ahead and go to our drive that Kenshi's on, x86, Steam, Steam apps, common, Kenshi, and data. I believe it's items, armor. I forgot. And if you totally forget, you can go look again. So it's just armor textures. No, we're looking for the drifter coat robot black, which is here. So you'll copy that to a place and then open it. You don't really want to change this one directly. You could open it and then export it without changing this one if you discard the changes, I believe. I just like to copy it because it's safer, but I'm just not going to save any of this. So now, because we were just in here, our gradient's still set to the same thing. So we could have that blue color if we wanted to. We don't have to have a gradient either. So let's say I want obnoxious yellow, right? So I can go to exposure, increase the black levels, or decrease the black levels, or increase the exposure. I'm going to increase the exposure, and then I'm going to go into hue saturation. I'm going to switch this to like, oh no, that's not what I want. I want more saturation. And I want even more saturation, probably. Not quite what I want. Hue saturation, then more saturation. Now I'm starting to get an effect. But there's other ways to get color in this too. You don't have to do it that way. There's the hue chroma. When you increase the chroma, you get a different color effect. Now you can change the hue of that. But if you play around with it long enough, you can get something neat. You know? Because I raise the brightness, I can lower it back down. Well, let's say I hated all that. I can just go back. Control Z to go back. Well, it's like color balance, you know, if you want to change the color balance, which is how I get some stuff to work pretty decent. Because it really doesn't want to change the color of black. Well, we can lighten it up. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Where was I? Levels in there. If I am not a GIMP expert, that is a factual statement. I just kind of play with it until I have something that I like. You know, like this is obviously not working. Until you hit the saturation several times. I don't think that's what I want. Perhaps it's color balance again. Color balance will do it. So I can have like obnoxious red, but with an obnoxious red, I can go to hue saturation, and now I can change it to whatever I want. Like obnoxious yellow, here we go. So now we have our obnoxious yellow that we can export. I'm just going to call it obnoxious yellow. No, I don't know where I tried to save that, but that's not where I wanted to be. Well, let's see. X86, Steam. Steam apps, common, Kenshi, mods. Test mods, the name of my mod. Your mod will be different. I'll just save it there. We'll export that. So now we can select this texture map. You could make copies of these too. You don't have to replace the originals, but if you replace the original, everybody who wears one gets it. Like, see, I had Zombie Blue. And now I can't find what I'm looking for. Did I not? Oh, there it is. Haha. I didn't think I saved it in the right spot there for a second because I'm blind. But that was the material color that you change. Changing the material color. So, like, you duplicate the dust coat. It'd be like dust coat yellow. And now you can change the material to be... Well, actually, you have to duplicate the material too. And now you can select, like, Zombie Blue, for example. We'll just call this one, like, Zombie Blue. Close enough? That's the black one. Even though I called it Zombie Blue and whatnot, I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing it wrong. We gotta add that to... What are they called? Long coat Zombie Blue? Yes. So here's our new material. You remove the old material, and then I'm still gonna leave this yellow just because. So in your case, in the other case, I would have left it blue so it matched the name of it or whatever. But that's kind of how you just do it. You just duplicate things and put them together, and then it's like, well, who do I want to wear this? And I'll say, well, how about Hungry Bandits? So I believe they're called Starving Bandits in the character thing. So let's see, Starving Bandits. There's Vagrants. Oh, Vagrant weren't. So then I'm not going to remove his other clothing, but I could. I'm just going to add my new dust coat yellow there, which, as you can see, is the Zombie Blue material. So now this guy can spawn with that material if I adjust these so that he has them. And so he'll be in a squad somewhere. Yeah, here, basically. So anytime he appears in those squads, he could have that item. If I want to make it for sale, I can go into pretty much any vendor you want. Doesn't matter which one, provided you know where to go find it at. So, like, I like to head out to Squid. They have the heavy weapon shop all the time. Or maybe, you know, bars are pretty much everywhere, so bar stuff is a good place to put stuff you want to find, you know, and you can change all these items and stuff to whatever you want, really. But in my case, I want to show the dust coat, so I'm going to add the dust coat to the start so he just spawns with it, and it'll be... Actually... It'll be there, but that was the wrong one. I wanted to do the yellow one. Because of my naming convention, I'm confused. Yeah, I'm really confused. No, it's still yellow. Okay, it's still yellow. So we should spawn with that just fine. So we've learned how to make colored weapons. How to color a dust coat. So if you wanted, let's say you wanted a colored mask, right? So we'd go into armor, and that particular mask was a face mask, right? Armored faceplates is what it was. So that's a helmet material. So data items, armor, textures, helmets. And then D-low, diffuse maps are what you're looking for. So it's armor. Armor textures helmets. There should be a helmet one. Data item. Armor. Oh, I gotta go into textures first. Oh yeah, it's just a helmet file. I get it. Diffuse low, right? Yeah, D low. So we'd go in and we'd color this one. You could hide the alpha to see what color you have, but all of this stuff makes up the various helmets that you'd be coloring that you can switch to this material, so you'd want to duplicate it. But, you know, pretend you colored it to something like, I don't know. Well, what is a good way to get a solid color quickly? That might help. I'm pretty sure levels is one, but colorize, that's it. Colorize will do it way faster. I just have to remember what I'm doing sometimes. But, like, it doesn't really matter what color you choose at first. You just kind of want to get, like, a nice density of color with the image still available. Like, I feel like this is pretty okay. But then you can go into the hue saturation thing and slide this bar around. Now you can pick whatever color you want. A lot easier without struggling with all those little bars and whatnot. Then, you know, you can increase the saturation to make them brighter without losing too much detail. You can make them darker too if you find that they're too light. And the colorize thing can also, let's go back. It's the default. Am I not able to go back that far? Oh, I can't. Hotkeys aren't working for some reason. I was struggling with hotkeys earlier, because normally you can just press G, but for some reason I can't just press G. But like the opacity will help you decide how much color you should have. Like if I just want a little bit of color, it's a pretty good way to go about it. That should help you figure out how to color pretty much any piece of armor you want. I've already done it, so I'm not going to bother exporting it, but it was the same as the previous two things. Once you have it exported back to your file or whatever, you just kind of hit this and select helmet one, which for me is this one. Well, let's say, you know, you did all this work, so now maybe you want some wooden sandals. You can do the same thing with wooden sandals. It's a material. So you just go and change this same way as the other ones. You'll go and find it. And data items, armor, boots, sandals. So this time it'll be in boots before the texture one. So let's see, data items, armor, boots, and here's your sandals. And then just hide the alpha. These are what the sandals look like. I know, right? They're a lot better than I thought they were when I first saw them too. But you just hit colorize if you want to do it that way, or play around with it a little bit till you figure out what you want, you know. Maybe you just want black sandals. You can kind of just black and white sandals. And I'm pretty sure you can just invert stuff too if you want to be really nuts with it. Yeah. Invert and then colorize maybe. Some of that weird stuff. But yeah, you get the idea though. You can color anything you want. But like, I don't know, let's say you don't like the Thieves backpack. Like, this one is a lot easier to color because it comes with the black lighter one, but These are, it's the best way to describe that. There's a section for colors, a color scheme. So, for example, you can duplicate the ninja one, like my own color. Let's say I want red and blue, but only one of these will work, and I bet you it's the blue one. Because this particular backpack only has one color. So we did the top one red, the bottom one blue. It'll tell you in just a second which one's which. We'll just make sure a character spawns with the backpack. Squad, wandering trader. Yeah, he does. So we'll save that. And just like that, you can see we have our yellow coat and blue Meito weapon. And we will unsheath this particular weapon because it has a sheath by fighting the first thing we come into contact with. Him. You have been chosen. You can see the blade itself has been colored. The scabbard, the blade, the handle, it's all colored. So if you play with the colors enough, you get something really cool if you wanted to. But the dust coat itself looks pretty cool. Even the extra black kind of gives it a interesting look to it. If you played with the colors enough, you could fully colorize it and have a solid color if you wanted that. But the other thing I wanted to do was open up the FCS and see if we can make those light beams less dangerous. Because my previous tutorial video, I made the light beams, but they are quite dangerous. So it's difficult to have a rave when everything's killing you like that. You know what I'm saying? So light beams will be in the biomes under seasons, and particularly in Venge has them. So Venge beams will lead to sky beams, and these sky beams do burning damage. We could set them to none. You know. And reduce the damage to 0. Multiply particle base color by biome ground color. You know what? Let's see if that does anything at all. It uses skybeam particle thing. We don't want it to do much, but we will leave that alone because that's probably how it looks on the ground when it's spraying. And this color multiplier right here, I'll change the color of the base of the shaft. In order to change, just to reiterate, in order to change the light beam itself, you could open Kenshi, no, not that one, skybeam.pu. It's in Steam apps, common Kenshi data particles, scripts, skybeam.pu. You're going to want to use Notepad++. You're going to want to make sure this down here says Windows CRLF, UTF-8, and INS, because if you press insert, it'll switch to a different one. And then you just switch these to the color you want, because this first row of numbers is time, so it starts at 0 and it ends at 1. These next 3 and all of these are the color. So red, green, blue. This last one's an alpha, how transparent it is. All these numbers go from 0 to 1. So any decimal number, like, 0.47 works. That's essentially that. But let's go save this. There we go. Now they're just lights from the sky. They don't actually hurt. Yes, it'll hurt though. My pet beak thing should be completely immune to everything. Yeah, that should be hurting me. That's not. So that's how you turn the damage off of it if you just want to have cool stuff someplace. I'm pretty sure you can even do like shades and stuff too. Like sunglasses. Shall we go find out? Alright, so in order to do some sunglasses type of thing, we need to find some. So I'm thinking Ashlander storm goggles. Yeah, these here. They apparently go well with a dust coat. But they have a material, and it's called Dust Hat. Items, armor, textures, dust hat. So we'll go into our C drive, x86, Steam. Steve Apps, common, Kenshi. Data, items, armor. That was textures. And dust hat. Dust hat D for diffuse. I'll just copy that and I'll send that to my folder on the desktop where everything else I've been playing with recently is. I'm gonna click on that, open it right up. Okay, hide the alpha. Let's see, this is probably the lens, maybe? I don't know why it's separate, but let's hit it with the colorize. It'll automatically go to my zombie blue color by the look of it. I'll increase the saturation and the lightness a little bit. We'll try that out. Let's see if we like that. And I'll go back to our mod folder, because these things have to be in your mod folder. Well, any mod folder, I'm pretty sure, but it checks to see if they're in a mod folder for it to work. So I'm pretty sure I could put them in this one if I wanted to, but how do I go back? There we go. We'll put it in the test folder. I'm going to just call it Blue Shades. And then export. I don't need that anymore. I'll discard the changes because I want to leave it blank in case I want to make more for more detail. But now when we open this up, it should take us straight to our mod folder because we've already been using it. And Blue Shades. Yeah, so that'll change all of those to blue shades. We could have duplicated the material and duplicated the storm goggles to get a unique item. By pairing them together, we'll get brand new stuff. So in my case, I went to adjust my game start. Wandering Trader Squad, Wandering Trader, and then instead of faceplates, I'll add Ashlander storm goggles. Perfect. And then what I'm actually also going to do is change it so it's just dark all the time. So within an hour, the sun will set. Save. Now we have our blue shades. I also made the lantern green and have a little bit more area. I can't figure out how to color the ground of this place though. But now we got our glow sticks, we got our colored shades, we have our pretty sword, and we have our rave lights. I do believe we have successfully had a rave in the desert. Well, the Deadlands. And these things, if you want to change the color of these things, they're called blast tube streetlights. So in order to figure out how to do this. Alright, so to find the streetlight, we'll go into our mod thing. We'll look in buildings. We can assume it's an exterior item. And blast tube streetlight. So in order to figure out what we need to do, we're going to assume it's the parts. Yeah, streetlight, droid type, omni light. So what we'll do now, because we can assume it's a particle because it emits something, we'll go into the Kenshi folder. So Steam apps, common, Kenshi. And data, and now we're going to go into the particle folder. And we're going to look for scripts. And now we're going to go looking for our streetlight. Because there's a few different streetlights for sure. Let's see what we can find. Some of these might combine together to make one item, that kind of thing. Streetlight droid flames. That's most likely it. Oh, that's why I changed the other one. So it's the top bracket of colors we want to change. Matter of fact, let's just make it back to red since it's the opposite of cyan. There we go. More of a magenta color, but you can kind of control pretty much anything you can see. All right, and our last loose end should be the backpack. So I know I made a duplicate of the backpack. No, I made a duplicate of the color, so it's probably that one. So I called it my own color. So we can go into items, bags, any backpack you want. I'll just do the thieves backpack, change the material to my own color. Is that how it works? That is not how it works. Wait a minute. This one. Change the color to my own color. That should color it. But with what we know, we could go into the backpack one and change the backpack's color manually to whatever we wanted. If we wanted a rainbow backpack, we could probably have a rainbow backpack. Alright, actually, I'm a little bit curious about that, but it's just regular backpack. Backpack.dds. You.dds. You are. Do you have a look to you? That's very interesting. It'd be kind of funny if it was just a black square. Alright. Let's just hit it with my zombie blue color. Alright, so that was a extreme success. That looks better than if you used the faction color, I'm pretty sure. But let's switch it around and find out. So either way, you have control, but I think I like doing it the other way better. Where I change the color in GIMP so I can get whatever shade I want a lot more exactly without having to worry about it. But this way works too. It'd just be the first color is what gets precedence. So like earlier, I was doing the stuff with those lasers or whatever, and if you changed it the way that I did, what'll happen to you is you'll lose the danger of Venge. So you can duplicate Venge. Call it Rave already. Tell Venge just to go back to default. Can I tell Venge to go back to default like that? Yeah, I can just revert the changes. Now Venge is back to normal, and I have Rave Party, which is all the stuff I changed in Venge. But because the biome for the tar sands, which is the Deadlands, is still set to not the biome, it's the spawn area that's still set to it, which will be the Deadlands. Set to the season, it won't do anything, so I can remove that season and add that other season to it. Now it's just a Rave Party, and Venge is fine. Venge is dangerous again. You know. You can make your own weather. It's not particularly difficult, but you should choose one that's, you know, like Twisters of Fire. Something that you want to have somewhere else. You might want a Twisters of Fire. I would just duplicate it. Well, it's not actually used anywhere, so changing this one won't really change anything. But then you can go to your spawn area, and let's say I want it in the Sten Desert, which is where I put it, I think. No. I could have a copy of Twisters of Fire if it was one that's already in use. It's not actually in use, though, so I don't see the point in copying that one in particular. But if I tell myself to go spawn... Okay, they're kind of rare, but they're out there. Flaming tornadoes. To actually make it more prevalent, in the seasons, this number, the 100, was what I set to 1,000, because it's the probability of occurrence. But you go into here, and that's 60 right there. Maximum count of effects that can be active at the same time. I believe that's the more important number. So let's set this to something absurd. No, maybe not that many, though. Alright, let's find out. I'll skip again. Yeah, they're still not super prevalent, but when I did that to the laser beams, it certainly made them more prevalent. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my god. What's that Riddick planet? Crematoria? We're on Crematoria, boys. I think the next step of this journey, though, is figuring out what particle emitter that is. Yeah. All right, let me tell you how. So, I opened up Twister Fire 1. We want 0, 1. 0, 1's the important one. And all the way at the top, scroll down to the first time color, and it's these ones that I changed. These are the ones that did it. So if you made them all the same color, you could have one solid color tornado, so you could have custom tornadoes if you wanted them. That's pretty much it for that. Like, let's say you wanted custom rain. Like, you wanted to change the rain's color. Like, heavy rain. Okay, weather, heavy rain, deadlands. Kenshi, heavy rain. Particle system, Kenshi, heavy rain. So I suppose I could have saw which one to... Is that true? I could have saw which one to do if I just would have paid attention. Yeah, I could have. Yeah, so it just says over here where that is, or what it's called in the script files. So I'm pretty sure I changed the color of the rain already, but... So, Kenshi, heavy rain, red. This is the regular one. So it'd be this color one right here. Guy made it blue. So that's how you can change the rain. Be any color you want. If you wanted green rain, yellow rain, black rain, white rain. I don't really know why you want white rain, but you know, you do you. All right. I know that was hard to follow. I do. But I hope you guys learned something. I'm really tired. I need to finish putting this together so I can upload it. Hopefully, you enjoyed what you saw, learned something, decided to make something crazy, huh? Because it probably wasn't particularly entertaining. But it is what I'm good at. It's just raw information. If you can use raw information, I'm probably a good person for you to know. For raw information's how I do stuff. But I suppose that'll be the end of this video. I won't ask you to subscribe, but I will heavily imply it because I have no following. I'll probably put the twisters at the very beginning of the video. So if you came watching for the twisters and you waited all the way until the end and you're a little pissed off about that, yeah, I probably deserve that. Have a good one, gentlemen.